Greetings, this is Forrest Woolman with the Electric Bike Report, back with you here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Evelo Omega, a cruiser electric bike that's literally out of this world. It features some amazing technology that makes riding easier and funner than you ever thought. The Omega has state-of-the-art technology that's like bringing the future to the here and the now. Just think for a second, wouldn't it be great to have an e-bike that shifts gears on its own? And how about a transmission that always finds a gear in the sweet spot of your pedaling? The Omega can do both. Whether you're an experienced rider, a novice, or someone who hasn't hopped on a bike in years, the Evelo Omega is an e-bike that almost anyone can commandeer and enjoy. So this e-bike has a lot going on, and I've only scratched the surface. Let's dive a little deeper and take a look at the advanced technology and unique features that make this e-bike so special in our full review of the Evelo Omega. Now, before we get things started, please take a moment to click the subscribe button and notification bell. It helps support our channel by enabling us to bring in more e-bikes in to test and review. And you will also get a notice when we have a new e-bike review that you might be interested in. Now let's talk about the Evelo Omega. Featuring the state-of-the-art transmission with the Enviolo Trekking CVT hub and its AutomatIQ shifter. CVT means continuously variable transmission and is a shifter that automatically changes gears. Now this is an awesome innovation to have on an e-bike. It's simple to use and makes your ride way easier to enjoy. Another great innovation is the 750 watt Dahu mid-drive motor that delivers loads of power to make your pedaling easier while also using more energy more efficiently. And that's helping your battery charge last longer so you can ride longer. Some other great features include the full color LCD display that gives you all the current details of your ride, the 26-inch by 2.8-inch fat tires offering great handling and suspension while soaking up the bumps you hit, and the Selle Royale memory foam saddle giving you a comfy spot to plant your tush while you ride. All of us here at EBR are stoked to see Evelo has a 4-year, 20,000-mile warranty on the Omega. This shows how confident the Evelo folks are about this bike. And not only will the warranty give you added confidence in the quality of your e-bike, but it will also give you confidence knowing that this Omega is built to last. So that covers some of the great features of this electric bike. Now let's take a closer look at the spec sheet detailing what the Evelo Omega is equipped with. The Evelo Omega comes as a Class 2 e-bike, meaning it will travel up to 20 miles per hour via pedal assist or throttle. Powering the Omega is a 750 watt mid-drive motor, which pushes out 115 Newton meters of peak torque to get you up those hills. In a few minutes, we'll show you how well this bike did climbing hills in our hill test. Now the Omega comes standard with a 48 volt, 15 amp hour Samsung frame integrated battery. It can be removed, and since it's located on the underside of the frame, it drops out really easily. You can also boost your range by adding a second battery that mounts the optional rear rack. Like I mentioned before, the real game changer is the Enviolo Trekking CVT hub with its AutomatIQ electronic automatic shifting. Working with both the torque sensor located at the bottom of the bracket and your motor, the AutomatIQ unit knows when to change gears to maximize your pedal efficiency and simplify your ride. Adding some finer control features is the Enviolo app, and you can use that to pair it with your smartphone. This allows you to change the cadence that activates the motor, ensuring that you have some control over your auto adjust and your pedaling and your gearing, and make sure it's to your personal preference. Now you'll be able to keep the same cadence uphill, downhill, and on straights using this app. The upside is this can enable you to be more active with your pedaling, but the downside is that changing the cadence can also cause your battery to lose power quicker. So it's something you'll get the hang of. Another game changer is the Gates belt drive that replaced the traditional greasy chain. Gone are the nuisances of getting grease on your hands or clothes from traditional bike chains. The Gates belt is clean, makes your ride more quiet, and the belt lasts longer, on average 3 times longer than regular bike chains. The Zoom hydraulic disc brakes and 180 millimeter rotors provide great stopping power. And for added safety, there is an auto cutoff that shuts off your motor when you pull the brake lever. There are some also nice included features such as the fenders, which help keep you dry, although I do wish the front one was a little longer for more coverage. And you have the integrated headlight, and you also have a little horn to beep and let people know when you're going to approach and pass. The Innova 26-inch by 2.8-inch fat tires feature the Aramid puncture belt and are specifically for e-bikes. The trade-off with the wider tires is you get better handling and control, reduce risk of flats, but they are harder to pedal when you don't have a motor. But as long as you don't run out of battery power, the motor will make the pedaling easier with these fat tires. The simple cockpit layout is another aspect worth appreciating in this Omega. The left-hand throttle switch is easy to activate. The lever is easy to grab when braking, and the buttons on the display are easy to touch for changing PAS settings and getting ride information. I really liked riding this with the rubber hand grips. Nowadays, a lot of e-bikes come with faux leather grips, which become slippery when wet, either from sweat or weather. The rubber grips on this bike provide a positive grip action no matter what external elements I faced. Overall, I think the Omega has some stellar and unique features, and that makes this e-bike really stand out compared to other electric cruiser bikes. But, you know, the proof is in the pudding, so let's take a closer look at how this e-bike did in our testing. E-bikes like the Omega can travel at pretty fast speeds, so we like to make sure the braking is up to the task of stopping the rider in a hurry when needed. This is why we perform a brake test. Now here at EBR, we bring bikes up to 20 miles per hour before hitting the brakes and measuring the distance it takes to stop. We try to brake as quickly as we can while also maintaining control of the bike in a fashion similar to how you, the average rider, would. We do this multiple times, and then we make an average calculation of the stopping distance. The Evelo Omega is equipped with Zoom hydraulic disc brakes, dual piston calipers, and 180 millimeter rotors. And we've had good experiences with the same Zoom brakes on other bikes we tested. Therefore, the average stopping distance for all e-bikes in our EBR brake tests as of this review is 22 feet. The Omega's average distance was a little bit longer though. It was 24 feet 7 inches, but that's still respectable. My main takeaway from the Omega's brakes is that the Zoom brakes were consistent in stopping this bike. Even when I rode up and down a series of moguls requiring constant braking, these brakes didn't go soft, and I didn't have to pull the lever further when the brakes heated up from continued use. So overall, I was happy with their overall brake performance, and I think you will be too. In order to gain a better sense of motor engagement, we put all the bikes we review on a circuit test. The circuit course is a 1 mile loop with a small 30-foot climb and 4 right-hand turns. We do multiple laps on this course, starting with a lap with no motor assistance, then 1 lap in each level of pedal assistance. In this case, PAS 1 to 5, 6 laps total. With this, we can see the speed profile of the bike and get a sense of how well the motor engages with the rider's pedaling. Motor engagement on this e-bike was noticeably different than the other bikes we've tested, thanks to the game-changing combo of the Enviolo CVT hub and the AutomatIQ shifter. Now, CVT is an acronym for continuously variable transmission, which means this bike has a transmission that offers you more precise gearing than you will ever find on bikes that use a derailleur and a mechanical internal gear hub. Add to that the AutomatIQ shifter that finds the gear you need and shifts to it on its own, and you undoubtedly have the easiest shifting bike you're ever going to ride. Now, both the Enviolo CVT hub and the AutomatIQ shifter are major technological breakthroughs to have on an e-bike, and it made this circuit test different from previous ones. The acceleration was brisk from no motor power to PAS 1, and then jumping 3.4 miles per hour faster at that point. Then from PAS 1 to 2, 2.2 mile per hour jump. PAS 2 to 3 was a mile 0.4 faster. And then the power increase tapered off to less than half a mile per hour between PAS 4 and 5. The lower PAS has pickup rate that I thought was good because it helped me get going fast to start as soon as I started pedaling. I actually like the fact that it tapers off at the higher speeds because I don't want a bike like this to bolt ahead like a rocket in top speed. This bike's made for enjoyment, not for racing. Overall, I found this bike rides great using PAS 3 most of the time. I think that can be attributed to how the AutomatIQ gearing distributes the right amount of power for your need and based on your pedaling and the PAS setting that you choose. I only switched up to PAS 4 or 5 when I needed extra top speed approaching a hill and getting around some slower bikes on the trail. But like I said, I found PAS 3 kept me at a comfortable 18 to 19 miles per hour on average, which was a good speed for me since I don't like using up battery power so quickly. The top 2 questions we get here at Electric Bike Report: how far does it go? And how well does it do on the hills? Well, I'll address the distance question first. For testing the battery range, we do 2 different tests. One using the minimum PAS test, and that's where we use the lowest PAS setting to give us a consistent motor assistance while using the least amount of battery power. The second test is the maximum PAS test, where we use the highest PAS setting to see how far this e-bike will go with the motor on maximum power. Evelo claimed a range of up to 60 miles, and it seems they underestimated a bit how efficiently this bike can divvy out motor power. Our results showed on the minimum PAS test using PAS 1, we got an incredible long distance range of 83.6 miles in a time of 6 hours, 24 minutes, and an average speed of 12.7 miles per hour with an elevation gain of 1,190 feet. That is awesome. In the maximum PAS, it was a respectable distance. It was 26.9 miles in a time of 1 hour 35 and an average speed of 16.9 miles per hour and less of an elevation gain, only 524 feet on that one. Needless to say, we were stoked to go well past the 60-mile claim when using PAS 1. Evelo was conservative with their claim, and we really appreciate seeing that their bike exceed their expectations. This also gives us more trust in their product because if they're telling us this bike's going to go 60 miles, but we end up going 83 miles, we can't complain about that. Now, if your priority is to have even longer range, then you should consider getting the second battery and the rear rack that it's going to mount to. Many riders like having the second battery because they just like the convenience of not having to recharge their batteries as often. Now, on the high PAS range test using PAS 5, the Omega did meet our expectations. Now, we don't encourage riders to use PAS 5 for an entire ride. After all, it shortens your ride and shortens your fun. But if you have an emergency or you need to get somewhere really fast, it's great knowing that this bike will go the distance you expect. An important note about the important battery power is this for the e-bike. If you run out of power, the AutomatIQ shifter stops working. That means you're stuck pedaling in the gear you were in when the battery shuts off. So if you know you're going to run out of battery power and pedal the rest of the way home, hopefully you're in a comfortable gear for pedaling when the battery shuts off. If not, make sure you are. Be sure to use the lowest PAS level possible when you know you're running out of power. This might make the difference that you need to make it the rest of the way. Now it's time to answer the second most prominent question we get here at Electric Bike Report about how well this e-bike climbs hills. To answer that, we picked one of the steepest hills in town to put the bike's motor to the limit. For our reviews, we test each bike at the Hellhole Trail, which is 1/3 of a mile long and has an average grade of 12%. It's much longer and steeper than hills an average commuter has to deal with, but it helps answer the question of how helpful this e-bike can be on a climb. We run 2 tests for this bike. One is the max PAS test, and the second is the throttle test. And we do this to see what this bike can do under different circumstances. In both hill tests, the Omega did quite well. In the throttle-only test, where we don't pedal at all, we just use the throttle, the Omega made it to the top in a time of 1 minute 48 seconds at an average speed of 10 miles per hour. For the maximum PAS hill climb, we used PAS 5 and provided consistent basic pedaling. The Omega also made it to the top in a time of minute 23 and an average speed of 13.1 miles per hour. We were super impressed by the Omega's ability to reach the top of Hellhole Hill on the throttle test. Mid-drive motors are popular because they are more efficient in how they consume energy from the battery and how they work better in unison with the rider's pedaling. So when we did the next test involving pedaling and using PAS 5, we knew this bike would make it. The important takeaway from this was that not only did the Omega make it to the top on both tests, but its results were pretty decent in comparison with the hub motors that tend to do better on this test. The Enviolo CVT and the Dahu mid-drive motor, they worked really well in unison, and it eliminated the worry about gear changing and PAS level setting. Now, on my first hill climb on this bike, it was a surreal experience. Since I had no ability to shift gears, I felt like the Omega couldn't make it up to the top without my help. But this bike proved me wrong as it proceeded up the hill like it was on a mission, and nothing was going to stop it. So I was really amazed. That's how well this technology impressed me, and I think it's going to impress you too. The hill climb test is never meant to label a bike as good or bad. It's only meant to test an e-bike under extreme conditions. The fact that this bike made it to the top on both tests says a lot. It's not just a cruiser, it's a cruiser that can climb some of the toughest hills you will ever face. Good job, Evelo. So here are my biggest takeaways from my time on this bike. Evelo is known for using mid-drive motors and special gearing, other than that typical cassette and derailleur that's been around for like over 100 years that you see on other bikes. The 750 watt Dahu motor pairs really well with the Enviolo Trekking CVT gear hub and AutomatIQ shifter in creating an e-bike that's easier to ride than any other bike I've seen. And this is where Evelo shines bright, again with their ingenuity. The Omega also has an app that enables you to link your smartphone with the Omega's controller. One of the functions we really like is how it enables us to calibrate the AutomatIQ. This feature helps ensure that the automatic adjust feature knows what your personal preference is, and it provides that for you with a real tailor-made pedaling experience. So not only does this device shift for you, but you can also tell how you want it to shift, which makes a big difference whether you're a mellow rider or an aggressive rider. Using the app to adjust the pedal cadence is another function we value on this bike. This manages the effectiveness of your pedaling, whether you want to pedal slow or fast, which is great for both active and relaxed pedalers. Our only complaint is we want to see Evelo make it so that there's a way to make this adjustment on the fly using the display screen instead of having to take out our cell phone and stop the ride. Further adding to the Omega's value are the other components like the Gates belt drive. Gates belts are a bit more expensive, and some do-it-yourself rider mechanics might feel a little less comfortable with replacing and adjusting a belt as opposed to a chain, but it's better technology. And the cleanliness, quiet ride, reliability, and peace of mind are all worth it. The 83-mile range we got using just one battery was another bright spot. It's exciting to know this bike can take us farther than we previously thought. And to think, this is not a road bike or some other skinny tire bike. This is a cruiser. Whoa! Now, Evelo put their money where their mouth is too when it comes to backing this product. Their 4-year, 20,000 mile warranty is pretty unusual. Now, while working as a bike shop manager, I rarely saw people ride 5,000 miles a year on their bike. So this warranty says something about how much riding they expect you to do on this bike and how much this bike can handle. This is a bike where if you like features that simplify your life and you're willing to spend above entry-level prices, the Omega delivers one of the more joyful riding experiences of any e-bike that's out there today. And it helps with their theme, just pedal and go. The bike is happy to do all the work, enabling you to simplify and enjoy your ride. It's worth a hard look if you want a fun cruiser that's capable of almost anything. So this concludes our review of the Evelo Omega. If you found this review helpful, please give this video a like. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the Electric Bike Report channel and hit that notification bell. And for current pricing on the Evelo Omega, or for more data we collected while testing it, see the links on the video description below. So that's it. I'm Forrest Woolman with the Electric Bike Report. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you out there maybe sometime on the bike trails. And please, please remember, keep your hands on the bar, your feet on the pedals, and your eyes on the road. And I'll be happy to see you again here at the Electric Bike Report.